welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Welcome to episode, wait for it, drum roll please, 100. Can you believe it is the 100th episode of this podcast? Because I cannot. This has been going on for over 4 years. The first episodes I ever recorded were on my old Mac laptop at the kitchen table over there because it's the only place in my house I have decent lighting is when the kitchen windows are open. And now I have like some lights so I can record anywhere in the house, which is pretty helpful. I have a little tripod and I record on my phone. It's so much easier. I can't believe it's been that long. What a journey. If I were a more organized and spreadsheet type of podcaster / person, I would have a really cool, like, oh my gosh, in the last 4 years, in the last 100 episodes, I have made 20 billion hats, 75,000 scarves, 13 garments. I would have like a whole list and I would like show you them. And I don't have any of that because I do not keep track of my projects like that. Not even all of my projects are on Ravelry, although I'm really trying to get better at that because it is helpful for my life. But especially at the beginning, most of my projects weren't on Ravelry. So I can't tell you how many hats or shawls or garments I've made. I have no idea. And a lot of the stuff has passed on out of my house. I had a year of the garment where I made like 8 cardigans, something like that. Most of those have gone on to other homes. I had a year of socks where I made 19 pairs of socks in 2019. 2020 was the year of classics and also the Mission Impossible Mal, which I made exactly 0 things for. I'm still working on the Skyrim cardigan. That is my Mission Impossible project. So I can't tell you like, oh, here's the list of accomplishments that we've done. And we started with this many people and now we have this many people and we've run this many make-alongs. I have no idea. Not a clue. But don't worry. I have something fun planned for this episode. Because I can't go through and show you all the projects I've made in 4 years, I thought, what is something that's really unique and fun that we could do just for 100 episodes? So first, I have a giveaway. Then we are going to go through, they're all finished projects, all of the designs that I have published since starting this podcast. And I should say since ever, because I didn't design anything before I started this podcast. So it's going to be, I'm excited about this episode. It's going to be fun. Get your favorite beverage or your beverage of choice for today. I have a mango bubbly, in my opinion, the best bubbly that exists. And let's jump in, shall we? First of all, if you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet. Highly recommend you follow me on Instagram, not because I'm like a narcissist and need you to follow me, but that is where I am most active. So if you want updates in between podcast time, that's where you'll find me. And also you will get lots of baby Nova updates on Instagram. The wall posts on Instagram are cross-posted to Facebook, but the stories are not. So most of the Nova content is in stories. So if you want to see her cute little face, go follow me on Instagram. It's 9 a.m. She just went down for her first nap. So if you hear like a faint white noise in the background, that's her white noise machine. I have grand plans to get this whole podcast recorded before she wakes up. Fingers crossed she doesn't take a 45-minute nap this morning. Fingers crossed. She is 8.5 months old. She just went to a 2-nap schedule instead of 3 naps. Which honestly is wonderful. It's like super great, but it was definitely a struggle for about a week. And she was sick last week. She had her first fever of her life. It was low grade. She had the sniffles. She's totally fine now. But that was a struggle also. You would have thought she was being murdered. How upset she was. Which, I mean, I guess if I had never had a fever ever in my life, I would feel pretty awful about it as well. So I'm thankful that we're through that. She seems to be back to her normal self this morning. She's smiling, she's happy, she slept all night and didn't wake me up, which is wonderful because the night before she was up at 2 crying, 3 crying, 4:30 crying, 5:30, and then we just gave up. And she was up for the day. So yeah, no Nova content on this podcast other than that tiny gray little screen. But if you want to see her little face, go on Instagram. If you have anything to say about the podcast specifically, please shoot me an email. That's the best way for me to ensure that I will see your writing and get back to you in a timely manner. I have an email address just for this podcast. It is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. And then of course we do have a Ravelry group for the podcast. You can find that all linked directly down below in the doobly-doo. Does that make me an official podcaster if I say the doobly-doo down below now? So first, spread the love. I have some delightful prizes that I have been hoarding, waiting for the perfect moment to give them away, and this is the perfect moment. Now, how this is going to run, I cannot manage. I have tried before. I literally cannot manage a giveaway in the YouTube comments. It does not work for me. So if you would like to enter this giveaway, you have to go to the Ravelry group and comment on the post, the 100th episode post. It is linked directly down below. If Ravelry is not accessible to you, and I know for some people it's still not accessible, you have to email me and I will put a placeholder in that thread for you. So you either have to go to the Ravelry group and comment on the episode 100 thread, and you will be automatically entered into these giveaways, or you have to email me if Ravelry is not accessible to you. Email me at thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com, and I will put a placeholder entry for you in the Ravelry thread. Then I will use a random number generator in 2 weeks and pull these prizes. So what are the prizes, you might ask? Oh, let me show you. First of all, we have three skeins of this Wayfarer fingering weight 100% merino yarn. This is the colorway Distant Hills. I adore this purple. If you're a knitter and you want to make like a t-shirt, you could probably get a whole t-shirt out of these 3 skeins, depending on what size you're making. This would be great for a big shawl. And bonus, Nova totally nommed this one. I can feel it because it's a little damp. So you get a little bit of extra baby drool because she saw this on the table, the coffee table, crawled over, pulled herself up, pulled it off the table, and immediately put it in her mouth before I could rescue it. So 3 skeins of this fingering weight purple yarn, which is, in my opinion, delightful. The second prize, I have 1 skein of Manos del Uruguay in the color, I don't know what the color is. Oh, Spirulina. So this is 100% merino. This is 219 yards to 200 meters. So it's kind of like a worsted / DK. And then this is a single ply. This is also a single ply. This is fingering weight, but you would hold it double. I thought these went together so well. I don't actually know what yarn this is, but it's beautiful. And with that will come a set of Cloudborne fiber minis in this gradient. So this is 100 grams, 20 gram minis. These are 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. So I just thought these went together really, really, really well. And then the final prize will be this bundle of Knit Crate Vitalana Ambient Worsted. So it's 100 yards for 50 grams. So you'll get 250 grams. Although what I will say is this skein, I don't think is Knit Crate Vitalana. It might be, but it doesn't have a tag. But I thought it went together. So you'll get 250 grams in all of these colors. Did I say the fiber content of this? It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. So you'll get 5 skeins, 50 grams each, which equals 250 grams. I knew when all of these prizes have been donated by viewers of the podcast, and I've been saving them. And I knew when these came out of the box that they had to be a prize together. Do I want to hoard all of the yarn forever and ever? Yes. Will I? No, because we're going to spread the warmth and share the love. And I really, really appreciate all of you for watching and for being with me for so long. Even if you're new here, I appreciate you being around. And so this is a little way for me to say thank you. And of course, there will be some tea and some stitch markers in with each prize. So those are the 3 prizes. If any of those sound interesting to you, go and comment in the Ravelry thread or email me, and I'll put a placeholder for you if Ravelry is not accessible. I will ship worldwide. The prizes will be pulled by random number generator, and it will be random which prize you get if you win. Just whoever I pull, I'm probably going to weigh them, and whichever one weighs the most is the one that's going to go the farthest away, because shipping costs are expensive. So that's the prizes. And now we are going to talk designs. These are all finished objects for the last 4 years that I have been designing crochet patterns. But we're gonna start with a brand new finished objects. And the squirrely-eyed among you may have noticed, I am wearing it. This is the series shawl. It is a lace shawl pattern made in fingering weight yarn. It takes 2 skeins. It's super easy. You will have it's like a 2-row repeat. You will have it memorized very quickly. And you start from this part right here. Ooh, keep dropping it. And you just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you run out of yarn. And this shawl is officially released. It is live on Ravelry. Don't buy it yet. Hold on. Let me explain. Let me talk about this shawl, and then I'm going to explain something about all of my designs. If you would like to purchase one, I have a thank you sale going on. So hold your horses. So this is the series shawl. I made this in Knit Crate something. I don't remember what the yarn is now, but it's this lace pattern. I guess that's upside down. So it's this lace pattern that looks like this. It's gorgeous after it's blocked. I really wanted to add another lace shawl to my collection of kind of Florida designs, things that you can wear in the summer. I mean, it's August right now. I have the ceiling fan on because it is so hot outside. There's no way I'd be able to wear this without that. But like on a typical hot day, you could still wear this because it's so light and so breathable, and then you could drape it over your shoulders. You could do all kinds of stuff with it. And this pattern has been released. I'm so excited, so excited. I started this before Nova was born. Of course I did. And was able to pick it up, oh gosh, recently. So I got it tested and tech edited. It's live on Ravelry and available for purchase. Now, typically what I do when I have a pattern release is I have a $1 off coupon code for the first week to say thank you, because you guys are my podcast viewers and you are very special to me. And so I want you to have a discount for the first week of the pattern. But what I am doing, because of 100 episodes, is actually every single design I have ever made that is on Ravelry is $1 off right now. You do not need a coupon code. You don't need to put anything in. All you have to do is go to the store, and when you can click the link down below, and all of the patterns should automatically be $1 off. If Ravelry, I can't talk. If Ravelry is not accessible to you and there's a pattern that you want specifically, you can email me. I can PayPal you like an invoice and then email you back the PDF. I know that's not the best solution. I'm trying to set up like a PayHip account to have another avenue for patterns to be available, but I just have not had the bandwidth or the time to really dive into that. And so I would also have to add them all individually. And so it's in process, but it probably won't happen for several more months. So if Ravelry is not accessible to you and you would like one of these designs, please just email me and we can totally work that out. Otherwise, for the next week, no coupon code needed. All my designs are $1 off because 100 episodes on Ravelry, and it should apply to every single one. The only thing I will say is I have one pattern that's on a pay what works model. So the actual price of the pattern is more expensive than all my other patterns. Most of my patterns are like $3, $3.50, something like that. This one is $7.50, and it has 2 codes already built into it that reduce the price to $5.50 and $3.50, I think, to make that accessible to more people. So it's only going to take $1 off the actual price of the pattern, so it would be $6.50. So if you need that one to be even cheaper, just use the coupon code on that Ravelry page for that specific pattern. And that's the November Sky Beanie. That was a lot. I feel like that was a lot of admin. I'm just so excited. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm just like, la, 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 because I have a lot of like, it's not nervous energy, it's like excited energy about the fact that I cannot believe it's been 100 episodes. When I started this at my kitchen table, I was like, I mean, I'll find a few yarn friends and it'll keep me motivated to do stuff. I had no idea that 4.5 something years later, I would be on my living room still doing this, still having a blast, having designed all of these patterns, having like 9,300 subscribers, like people who tune in every 2 weeks to see what I'm working on and like share what you're working on. It's just amazing. Now this series shawl is actually going to be number 2 in a series. I will show you the other one. It's in the pile, the pile of designs. This is Ciri, named after Cirilla, who is a little girl character in The Witcher, the TV show. She's a character in the Witcher game series, of course, and book as well. And she's like a scrappy, determined, fierce little girl in the TV show. And so I wanted to name a pattern after her. This is the second one. The first one in the series is Vanya, named after Vanya Hargreaves from the Umbrella Academy. This is Ciri, named after Cirilla from The Witcher. I am working on another design. It won't be out for a long time because it's a lace weight shawl pattern called Alina, which will be after Alina Starkov from Shadow and Bone. So I am designing a series of lightweight / lace weight shawls and cowls based on delightful female characters in nerddom, which makes me excited. So that's what this one is based on. I'm gonna take it off because we are about to start the extravaganza of pattern designs. Just drape it up there. There. Now, I have published, since starting this podcast, including the series shawl, 19 crochet patterns, which is mind-blowing to me. I cannot believe it's been that many. I also have 8 designs, patterns in progress, in some various level of completion. One of them is just yarn in a bag, and I have an idea. A couple of them have the samples completely done already. One is in testing. That's a Tunisian cowl, and there's going to be a lot of stuff coming down the pike if I can get my act together. So pretty soon there'll be 27, honestly. But right now I have 19 published crochet patterns. So we're just gonna go through them. I pulled the first 3 that I ever designed and put them on top, and then the rest are in no particular order. We'll see if I can remember all of their names. This is the first pattern I ever designed. It is the Treasure Island shawl. It is by far the most popular pattern I have ever designed. It has the most downloads, the most projects on Ravelry, the most people who make this again and again and again. I wish I could replicate because it's so great, but I designed this specifically to be a Florida shawl. It's made using one big skein, so like 500-ish yards of fingering weight yarn. And it's really simple. You start at one side, you increase to a midpoint, and then you start decreasing. And it has these, I used a pretty variegated yarn, so it's a little bit hard to see, but it has these lace sections every so often. And then it comes to a point. This is one of my favorite shawls to wear. It shows up a little more red on screen than it is in real life. All of this right here, that's actually hot pink. But yeah, I love this shawl. It stays. I wear this all the time. I mean, currently I don't wear any yarn because Nova yanks on it, but eventually that will change. So yeah, this is the first pattern I ever designed. It's the only pattern I ever designed that has gotten a facelift because I did not know what I was doing. The pattern itself, like the verbiage in the pattern didn't change, but the format of the pattern changed a little while ago. I went back and updated it to match all of my other designs. So this is the first one. Treasure Island. Then my second ever design was a lace, kind of a light fingering lace stole wrap. This is the Key Largo lace wrap. You can actually make this. This is like a light fingering weight bamboo, so it's perfect for Florida. I love to wear this and like dress up a black dress. It's got this flower lace pattern that you can see. I made mine a super duper long, but of course you would not have to make it that long. Treasure Island is named after the beach that I live right near, like 5 miles away. The Key Largo lace wrap is named after Key Largo, which is one of the Florida keys, and it is the key where my husband and I got engaged on New Year's Eve in 2010. Oh my gosh, that was so long ago now. So it was really, really warm that day. Of course it was, because it's Florida. So this kind of just like, there were these beautiful flowers blooming, and this is reminded me of that. So that's why I designed this way. You could make this, oh, it's upside down. So this one's really special to me. It had all these beautiful flower patterns, and I really enjoy wearing this one. And that's the Key Largo lace wrap and the Treasure Island shawl. And then the final one in the collection, which you can get these separately, like one at a time, but I also put them in a collection called the Florida Shawls collection, is the Sanibel Chevron shawl. And it is a chevron shawl. And what you might notice that's unique about it is it doesn't come to points. It's actually, it looks like that. This shawl, interestingly enough, is worked bottom up. I know, it's crazy. It also has all of this texture with these little ridges. It took me forever to figure out the decreases, honestly. Sorry, it's a little bit wrinkly because it's been shoved in the bottom of my drawer. So you can totally wear this like a regular shawl. It's named after Sanibel Island, where my husband and I took an impromptu trip one time. So you can wear it like a regular shawl. I don't have any problems with it staying and not having points, but you can always have a shawl pin. I also have worn this a bunch of times as a wrap, kind of like a shrug wrap. So I'll put it up like this, and then I will take a shawl pin and pin this behind my back, kind of where my bra strap is. And then it's just like a shawl over my shoulders like that. And it stays. It stays just like that. So I kind of really like to wear it like that, like with a little bit of shawl collar. I've also put it as a shawl collar and then pinned it in the front, like right here. It's a little lopsided at the moment, but I've pinned it, like put a shawl pin like right here. It's just like really cozy. And I made this out of Barocco cotton DK. So it's, again, perfect for Florida. This one doesn't get as much love as it should, honestly. I should wear this more. Going through all my designs is gonna make me want to wear all of my stuff again. For sure. So all three of those are part of my Florida Shawls collection, and they're the first 3 patterns I ever released. And so they're really, really special to me. And looking at them again just reminds me how much I love them. And this one, of course, the Treasure Island shawl is the one that's gotten the most wear because it's just the best. And you guys must agree because it's the most downloaded pattern of all of my patterns. There's only one pattern that even comes close, and it's somewhere in that stack. So that's the first 3. We have plus series, so that's 4. So we have 15 more designs to go. Isn't that crazy? What shall I pull out next? The next thing that's on top, this one I released pretty much at the beginning as well. I made 2 samples of this. I made this out of yarn that a lovely, lovely person, Leah from Sheep Happens Yarn, donated to the podcast specifically for me. And then she actually made kits, which made me feel very fancy. This is the Falling Ivy shawl. I designed this specifically so that it would stay around your neck. So you know how you're constantly like adjusting shawls a lot of the times? This one will stay because it is made in a U shape. It's it's not a flat. If you can see that if I push it out like this, it gets really ruffly. This is the actual shape. So it's kind of a curved scarf, and it's worked from where my mouth is down to the bottom. And then you have these ivy petals, these little leaves at the bottom, which typically are worked the other way. So the leaves will be facing up, but I engineered them to be worked upside down. And then you have these stripes. So this was one of the first times that I was like, I really have to figure out how to do something like different with these stitches, because the pattern for these little leaves did not work going up. I was like, it's not what I want to look like. So I made 2 samples of this. See the little ivy leaves, because I had some yarn left over, so I made one in green and one in orange. And I love the green one, but I love the orange one more. And because it's curved, it's essentially like wearing a scarf that you don't have to adjust. Like it will just stay on your neck. You don't have to use a shawl pin. And I'm not just saying that, like multiple people have told me that that is true. I totally put this on backwards. I don't even know my own designs, do I? There we go, that's better. Now the leaves are facing out. So yeah, falling ivy, love this. It's just, I feel like it's a unique take on a shawl slash scarf because it's curved. And I haven't really seen any other designs that look kind of like this. So yeah, falling ivy. That's design number 5. I am very quickly going to lose count. The next thing in the list, and these are in no particular order now, they're just in a pile. So when they were released, I don't know. This is the Lake of Nine shawl. This was made in Knit Crate yarn. It's named after the Lake of Nine in mythology, but also in God of War, the video game. And it has these Roman numerals, 9. IX is 9. So this is made from side to side. So you have these lace panels that say 9 in Roman numerals, and then you come to 3 points and then decrease. The thing that I like about this, even though you can't really tell that there's 3 points when you're wearing it around your neck, is that because there's a little more bulk at the back with those 2 points, so you have 1 in the front, 2 in the back, and I'll show you, it actually covers the back of your neck. So I don't know if you've ever had like a thinner shawl that like, it kind of rolls up a little bit, and then you still have this area in the back of your neck that is cold, and the air gets in between the shawl and your shirt. This will cover that. And that's kind of why I designed it like that. Like it looks very cool when it's spread out, or if you're wearing it over your shoulders. But these points provide warmth without being heavy, because this is still fingering weight yarn. So you could wear it with your 3 points just kind of over your shoulders like that, and have 1 point on each arm. But yeah, that's the Lake of Nine shawl. Yet another nerdy crochet delight. And I just really like it because it's orange. I love bright colors. Oh boy, what shall we think of next? Oh, this one just got released. This is the Spiral Up Cowl. This was made in Yarn on the Prairie yarn, which is a fingering weight yarn. It's a tube, much like the knitted cowl tubes that you can make with the stripe and do helical. You can't really do, I wasn't really doing helical. I mean, it is made continuously in the round. You do have a jog on the inside, but because it's a tube, it's on the inside and no one will ever see it. So this is a double layered crochet cowl called Spiral Up because we all have bad days, and instead of spiraling down, we can make a choice and take a few moments and make a choice that's positive for ourselves and for our bodies and start to spiral up. So this is the last pattern I released last episode. I can't wait till it gets cold in Florida, because I could actually wear this because it doesn't have any holes. It's very solid fabric. I will be able to wear that around the baby without her yanking on it. It'll just stay on my neck and I won't have to worry about it at all. Here we have another cowl. This is a subtle Christmas cowl. So it's called the Pine Forest Cowl, and it has Christmas trees on it. Oh, it shows up so well in that filet crochet. So it just has this repeating filet crochet Christmas tree pattern, little pine tree. I called it Pine Forest. It's very subtly Christmas, because if you are not a fan of Christmas, or Christmas is not your thing, you don't want to like blast it all over the place, you can totally wear this and no one will know. So it's a lightweight cowl as well. It's kind of made in like a heavier fingering weight, but you could make this in any size. And most of my patterns are like that. They have modification options to use other kinds of yarn. So this one just has a special spot in my heart because I love Christmas. And I am very happy with how the pine trees came out. I think they just look delightful. This makes me want to make like a filet crochet cardigan that has this pattern on it. Little trees everywhere. So far, I've remembered all the names. Getting pretty good over here. Next we have, this is my couch shawl. When I was counting up my designs, I was like, oh man, it says 19, but I can only find 18. Where's the other one? It's because this one was on the couch. This is the Winterhold shawl. It is named after a very cold city in Skyrim, the video game. And it is made with bulky weight yarn. And it is huge, plush, and thick. So typically on the couch, I will have this over my shoulders. And then my hands will be poked out and I'll be crocheting. I have worn this occasionally outside, but like it doesn't get that cold in Florida. But if it were to get that cold in Florida, this would be like the warmest thing ever because it's gigantic, but it actually doesn't weigh that much. It's very lightweight, even though it's super warm. So if you want to look like a little bundled up person, this is the shawl, but I actually just keep this on my couch for whenever I'm feeling a chill in the air at night. I'm gonna put it back over there on the couch. Now, what else? This is one of my best pattern releases of all time. This one actually has gotten a lot of wear. Anytime it's cold, this is the one I reach for. And it is the Frost shawl. This I think I made a Barocco vintage DK. So it is a plain triangle shawl with texture panels. This is the Frost shawl. It's pretty big, but it's super lightweight. It's not as thick as the Winterhold shawl. It's very easy to make. And like I said, I've worn this one a lot when it's cold outside. This one has gone with me on some trips to places where it's cold as well. And an interesting thing is, you see the texture is on the front with the ribbing. It's not on the back. On the back, it's completely smooth. So if you didn't want the ribbing to be out one day, you could actually just turn the shawl around and just have a completely smooth shawl experience. This one I released, I think, in January of sometime. I don't remember when, but it was a big hit. And I really like it as well. It's one of my favorites. But wait, there's more. What more, you may say? This much more. I don't know how many we are up to, but fuzz is getting in my nose. What shall we do? What shall we think of next? Here's one. This is the first hat pattern I ever designed. This pattern is $1. It's always been $1. It will never go up in price. This is the Cotton Candy Slouch. This is made out of Fat Bunny yarn, her bulky base, and it used to have a pom-pom, but I took mine off. So you can actually make this in 3 sizes. There's like child, adult, and large adult, and then 3 lengths of slouchiness. So you can make a fitted beanie, a short slouch, or a long slouch if you want it like way more slouchy than this. It whips up super quickly, and the decreases are very much like knitting decreases. If you can see them, that's what they look like. You can see there's a little poof right there. That's because I had the pom-pom attached. I don't know what happened to the pom-pom. It must be in my house somewhere. It must be. So yeah, this one has actually gotten a lot of wear as well. Number one, because it is pink, and I love hot pink. But also it's just like, it's super warm, and it's also super lightweight. It's not a thick, kind of woolly hat that traps in a lot of heat. I can wear this in Florida and still be fine. So yeah, Cotton Candy Slouch. This was my thank you pattern to everyone, which is why it's only $1 and it will only ever be $1. So, Cotton Candy Slouch. Oh my gosh. This pattern I designed in 2018 after I went on a crochet vacation with Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast, Stephanie from Tatted Tatter, and Zelda from Zelda, I always mess this up. Zelda in our You know, if you know Zelda, you know, okay? So we stayed, my husband and I went for like our anniversary. We had a weekend in Vegas. And then I stayed a couple extra days. And while we were there, I stayed at the Mirage, which is the hotel. And I designed this cowl slash hat. It's called the Mirage Ponytail Hat Cowl. The Mirage, when you get up close, like a Mirage in real life, it kind of disappears, transforms into something else. And that's what this does. It's a cowl and it's a hat. I made two versions. This was made in yarn from Sin City Yarns, which the owner gave me to design a pattern with. So you can see it has this like beautiful texture. We have a border up top. It has these pom-poms. It uses every available inch of the entire skein. And then I had some leftover yarn from the Falling Ivy shawl, just enough to make a green version. So I am going to make the green version into a hat. So these strings right here, you actually just pull them and then you tie them up. So you have pom-poms. You can make this into a ponytail hat, of course, by not tying it quite so tightly. And this one, so the cowl, you just put around your neck. You can make this in child size as well. A lot of people have made this in child size. And then you have these cute little pom-poms. And then the hat becomes a fitted hat with two pom-poms on top. And you can have that hole be a little wider for a ponytail. So that's why it's called the Mirage Ponytail Hat Cowl, because it gets two things at once. You can make a cowl out of it and wear it if you're feeling a little warm. Just put it around your neck. Or you can wear it as a hat with your palms. I did not do a good job of tying this. Pretty sure I just messed that up. And then when you want it to be a cowl, again, you just stretch it, stretch it. And then you have your little palms. So this is such a fun pattern in my opinion. Of course I have to say that because I'm the one that made it, but I just love that it's two things at once. There, now I tied it like really well. So this one, the hat, you can see the pom-poms are right where they're supposed to be. So you get a two-pom hat. And this little streak of green looks like a tag of some kind, but it's not. That's just how the yarn was going. Oh yeah, this one always makes me smile. And I need to wear it more. This one needs more love, for sure. Speaking of Claudia from Crochet Luna, she has her own yarn line called Luna Yarns. This is a Z-twist yarn, meaning it's perfect for crochet. Most yarn is S-twist, which is for knitting. Of course, you can crochet with any yarn and knit with any yarn, but this yarn makes the stitch definition in crochet look delightful. And so I designed this specifically for Claudia and her yarn line. This is the Made with Love cowl. And you can see it has all this amazing texture and ridges, and the stitch definition is incredible because of course it is, it's a Z-twist yarn. It's the Made with Love cowl. It uses 2 skeins, I think. Yeah. And it has all that texture, and then it has like a little border on the top and the bottom. It's really, really easy. You make it flat and then you seam it. And you can kind of see the seam. Of course, it's a cowl, so I just love that it's pink. And I love that Claudia thought of me for her yarn line to design something. It was so much fun. And I actually have a couple of skeins left of her yarn that I was squishing in my stash the other day. Like, oh, these are so pretty. What am I going to do with them? I don't know yet. It looks like I have 4 cowls left, because apparently I showed you all the shawls to begin with. 1 shawl and 1 hat. Let's do the hat first. This is the one that I was talking about, the Pay What Works model. This is the November Sky beanie. It is a hat with this texture all the way to the top with the decreases. I made 3 of these. This is Barocco Vintage DK left over from the frost shawl. This is a ball of Malabrigo that I got in the UK. This is the first one I made, but of course you can't really see the texture because it's variegated. So I love it, but that was kind of pointless. And this was the last remaining yarn I had from my falling ivy shawls. You can really see the texture there. This pattern is also graded in multiple sizes and multiple levels of sludge. This pattern was such a mind bender. It took me forever, like a year and a half, to get it right. And you look at it and you're like, well, it looks so simple. Yeah, I mean, when you're making it, but designing it, like I just could not figure this part out at all. I could not figure this part out. That's the November Sky beanie. I like it very much. I really wear the orange one most of all. I do wear this one, but like I said, you can't really tell. You can't tell that it has texture because it's variegated. Texture and variegated don't really mix, honestly. But wait, there's more. This right here is the only Tunisian crochet pattern I've ever released. I do have another one working, the Calliope cowl. It will be out in a month probably. This is the Tunisian Zen cowl. I made this from yarn from Life in the Long Grass Studio yarn that I got. Well, my husband and I were in the UK in 2018. And this pattern is designed because you have to count. There is no making this pattern if you're not counting. And you can see that it has these diamonds going across the pattern. You must count or you will be off. It simply uses Tunisian knit stitches and Tunisian simple stitches to make these diamonds. But the reason that I've called it Tunisian Zen is because you have to count in order to do this, which means you have to focus and be mindful. I used 2 full skeins of yarn, and then you seam it at the end. This is the inside. I know people like to see the insides of things sometimes. Kind of looks like knitting. You can see even the texture on the back as well. So this pattern was designed so that you could be, like if you were having a bad day, you could be a little mindful and just calm down because the rhythm of stitches and the rhythm of counting, you just have to focus. You can't make this pattern if you're not focusing. So that's the Tunisian Zen cowl. I really enjoyed working on this. It was such a meditative project. Then we have, this is the pattern that rivals the Treasure Island shawl. This one is made in, I don't remember what yarn. It might be yarn, Marley Bird yarn, Chic Sheep yarn. This is the You're Not Alone cowl. I released it during the pandemic last year. It's made in the round, there's no seaming, and it is all this gorgeous texture. It's worsted weight, and the reason that I made this, designed it, I can't even tell where the beginning of the round is, honestly. I have no idea. It just disappears into the texture. Because so many people were feeling alone and feeling terrible last year, and I know that's still happening this year, but this is a quick project. One of the ways that we say I love you to other people is by making them things. And of course, I typically don't make people stuff because it's not worth it. You have to be a yarn worthy person. But this cowl I have actually made a couple for other people who are really struggling. And it's a way to give someone a hug in the form of yarn, in the form of a cowl around their neck. This is a pretty easy pattern. It works up pretty quickly. And so it's not like you're doing something super complex that's going to take you a million hours and then gifting it to them worrying that they might not, appreciate it. This takes 2 skeins of worsted weight yarn. It works up quickly. Like I've done them in a few nights. And the whole message is that you're not alone. Whatever you're going through, you're not alone. We're here for you. Someone knows, someone sees you. And every time you wear this, just remember that you're loved. And so this pattern was really meaningful to a lot of people last year. And that's why I say it's the only pattern that like even rivals the Treasure Island shawl is this one. And it continues to be like, people still find this really meaningful, which I find really special. Like you never know when you put stuff out there in the world, how it's going to be received. And so this one just makes me really happy that the message like got across and so many people made these for people. So You're Not Alone cowl, quick, simple, and you're not alone. Two more. Actually, 2 more cowls, then 1 shawl, then we'll be done. This is from the series shawl, this is the Vanya cowl. So this is a lace weight. This is made in 100% silk. This is Fat Bunny yarn as well. I think the colorway was Dahlia. And it is named after Vanya Hargreaves from the Umbrella Academy, who is so delicate and fragile, but she is the most powerful of all of her siblings. And so that's, to me, what lace weight yarn is, especially this silk weight lace weight yarn. It's so delicate and so light, and you could break it, but also when you make it into something, it's really strong. Like, this is not gonna break. This is solid. And this has a lace pattern. Let's see if I can do it like this. Lace pattern on it as well, with a little bit of texture. And this is like it's a little bit like long for a cowl. I don't wrap this twice. I just put this on by itself, just like this, and just kind of zhuzh up any kind of outfit. Like, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Pop this on. Fabulous. We're going out, ladies. So yeah, this is pattern 1 in the series of strong nerd women. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. It's all the dust. All the fibers are getting up my nose. This is Vanya, series number 2, and there will be a 3rd. The last cowl I have to show you is the Nihilist cowl. This is a long, pointy cowl that actually is worked from the bottom up. And it has little eyelets, so I made this to look like eyelets in knitting. And this is using 1 skein of yarn. And Nihilist, Darth Nihilist, I actually have tattooed on my leg. I'll show you. This is Darth Nihilist from Star Wars. He is not in any of the movies. It is a very deep dive. His whole thing is like consumption and hunger. Like, he just has to like feed off of the life force and like consume. And we all have those 1 skeins, 1 special skein in our closet, right? That we're just like, oh, it's just 1 skein. What am I going to make with 1 skein? But oh, I have to have it. I hunger for it. Well, you can make this because it's designed using only 1 skein, and it's kind of tall and kind of pointy. I always, when I put it on, I fold it over at the first eyelet right here. It gives it kind of a little structure right there, and then it just lays perfectly. And because it's a cowl, it never comes off. So it comes down to like right here. Oh yeah, I really, really like this one. Pulling this out makes me be like, oh man, I really want to wear all of my stuff again. My gosh. This is the Nihilist cowl. And finally, a shawl pattern called Bellatrix. It's a bit crumpled. It was in the bottom. This is a short row shawl. You can make in any weight of yarn. This sample is made in fingering weight yarn. I made this in Moon Tower Dye Works yarn. She's so fabulous. This is what it looks like. Ignore the points being a little curly. It's been crunched in the corner. After I blocked this, they did not look like that. You can make this way bigger. So this specific version uses 2 full skeins of fingering weight yarn. You could make these points longer, no problem. It's specifically to use those skeins of really highly variegated or speckled yarns that you just need a solid pattern for. No texture, so that it actually shows off the yarn. This is how I like to wear this shawl. I put it on, and it has these points. I have a little black dress. I've worn this to a lot of weddings. Because it's a smaller shawl, it's not necessarily going to stay put without a little bit of help. So what I will do is actually take a safety pin and just pin these 2 points together underneath, and then it will stay put all night. Just like this. Turn it just a little bit. Yeah. And of course that doesn't poke off your shoulder after you block it. But this needs probably a good wash and love, because it hasn't been worn since before I got pregnant. So Nova's 8 months old plus 9 months. Like what is that? A year and a half. Yeah, this is Bellatrix, of course, named after Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter. Someday, there will be other short row shawl designs. I just don't know what they are, so I'm waiting for the inspiration, but there will someday be a series where this is Bellatrix, and then there will be Lucius, and there will be Severus, and there will be 3 shawl patterns using short rows based on those names, Bellatrix, Lucius, and Severus. So this is the 19th. Those were in no particular order. It turns out I do actually know all of the names of all of my designs, and mostly the yarn I made them with, which is impressive to me because it's been 4 years for some of them. Most of this yarn has been donated to the podcast. So y'all have enabled me to design, truly. Like this yarn was donated. That yarn I bought. This yarn was donated. This yarn. This yarn. This yarn. Let's see. This. So all of those so far. That. All of these designs. And I can't reach. In fact, including my very first design. All of this yarn has been donated to the podcast. So you guys have enabled me to make these designs. I definitely would not have been able to work with the breadth of yarn that I have without this. This one too. This yarn was also donated at the very beginning of the podcast. These ones I have purchased. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the winter hold shawl, 6. So of 19 designs, 6 of them I purchased the yarn for. Oh, plus this one. I think I bought this as well. And so what is that? 19 minus 7. 12, 11, 12, something like that. More designs have been made with yarn that was sent to me because you guys are so supportive than yarn that I have bought. If I had to buy all of that yarn, these designs would not exist. Like they simply wouldn't. I don't have the budget for that. I mean, nobody does really. And so the fact that you have been so generous with your time in watching this podcast, with your stashes in supporting this podcast, like sending prizes, sending yarn to design with, it really means the world to me. Like this is a creative outlet. And I know some of you have been here like since the very beginning, and some of you haven't been here that long, but you've gone back to the beginning. And so you know all of the things that we have kind of gone through together. And this podcast is really meaningful to me. I have shared as much of my life as I possibly can. We've been through multiple job changes, moving house. We've been through a miscarriage. We've been through pregnancy, having a baby. Like it's just, there's so much that we have gone through and experienced together. And it's really like a stable thing that's full of joy for me to be able to come every 2 weeks and talk to you. And I know I took a 6-month break after Nova was born because life was just insane. And maybe it will be again, but I'm finally feel like I'm back in the swing of like living. I definitely don't have as much yarn time as I used to, but I'm trying. Like I said, I have, 8 designs in some level of progress. I have one where the pattern sample is completely done. That's the Cozy Up blanket. That's the next pattern I'll be working on. There's a Tunisian cowl in pattern testing right now. I have another blanket pattern that I just started this week, but it's already graded from like preemie blanket size all the way to king size. I have a cardigan pattern. I have a secret cardigan pattern that will be coming in November. There's just so much. There's so much that I'm grateful for, and I don't want to cry right now, so I'm not going to, because y'all know I can get real sappy and emotional, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with emotions. You shouldn't apologize for having them, but Nova's gonna be awake soon, and I have to somehow put all of this stuff away and do laundry and get some work done today. So there's a lot going on, and I just want to reserve space for happiness at the moment. But just know that if you're watching this for the first time or you're watching this for the 100th time, I appreciate you and I'm thankful for you from the bottom of my heart. Like, you have added so much delight to my life, and you have given me such a creative outlet, and I appreciate your presence. And I'm sending you a giant virtual hug through the interweb. Thank you for being here. Happy 100th episode. Go to Ravelry and enter the giveaway, and in 2 weeks next time I will pull those 3 winners. I wish I could give out 100 prizes, but who could afford the shipping? So go do that, and I will have some things to show you next time. Even if I don't crochet a single stitch for the next 2 weeks, which seems unlikely, I have been working on some stuff, so I will have some content to show you next time. So thank you for being here, and I will talk to you soon. Happy crafting. Bye, friends.